Right, first of all, okay, because I do look like shit, this beard is only, I don't look after it, and it's 2.5 months old. First of all, if you stick that fucking syringe in that Lexus again to stupefy it and to, like, constrict its fucking mind capability of being able to think and function, because you want the rest of the world to slow down like you, then I'm going to find you and I'm going to punch the fuck out of you until your, like, mouth fills up full of blood and you start inhaling your own blood, coughing and splattering, and begging for there to be a god or a fucking religion that fucking might actually come and save you supernaturally. What I thought I'd ask you a question. Now, I look like shit, I really do. I basically feel and I look like I have spent 6 years in a fucking Burn Railway fucking prison camp. So, while I feel like this, and I'm also in extreme desire to use a speedball on a fucking wall to get some rhythm back, like, you know, just get a bit of rhythm. That feels good. I also need a haircut. I need to clean my eyebrows up. I'd like to see a doctor. I haven't seen a doctor for almost 7 years now. Probably longer, nearly 10. And I mean, I've seen a couple of doctors and I've had a couple of things, but I really need to see a fucking doctor for this stuff. That once I've got to this stage, I don't know whether I'm actually going to make it or not. But still, I just thought I'd ask your extremely educated opinion about what you think this place is all about. It's kind of like looking at Five Finger Death Punch after one night in a hotel room about 6 or 7 years ago. 6 years ago? Oh fuck, I can't remember, man. Like, there's so much going on with this massive amount of trauma. It's kind of like being raped 7 times in one day while you're asleep, waking up and then trying to figure out who done it, how many of them done it, how bad it is, and then having to relearn how to walk every morning. And then dreaming about days of where it was a screwdriver and a shifter, the first fucking butterfly clip you could find, and basically there was no lock that we could not pick on any car when we were kids for about 3 years straight. 10, 20 cars a day, entire areas emptied out of cash, change, car stereos, fully six subwoofers, whatever people had around for people to eat. I just thought I'd ask you your extremely educated opinion. Immortal Technique. I don't like him now. I'm regretting any social or fucking public promotion that I had for enjoying the songs that I always thought felt good and were cool at times. I was in my 20s, and then later on, I just didn't really take much of a look outside of what I was looking at. I guess I should have fucking probably brushed my teeth more often than what I have been of lately. Like when a horse doesn't want to brush its teeth, it just feels horrible. I think I just need to brush my teeth, maybe whiten them. And actually, I don't use drugs, but I really do need to brush my teeth right now. They feel very yellow. I've been smoking. Old habits die hard. But as I will get this out before somebody bothers me, your extremely educated opinion. Do you think that you could spend, and in today's society even, like it's digressed 35 years backwards to something that I wasn't sure was going on back then, as much as what it is now. And anyway, do you think you could spend at least 5 years outside, whether it be in suburbia, in the bush, uh, in the wilds, in the cities, do you think you could spend 5 years outside with no tent, no protection, no swag, no really minimal amounts of money, like way lower than a fucking bottom class drug dealer in society, man, earning less than the fucking minimum wage? Do you think you could spend 5 years outside with no protection at all, at a minimum 5 years, let alone fucking 10, 12, 15, or 24? Yeah, it's not so much 24 years, like, but you know what I'm saying, like outside with no protection at all. Do you think you could spend that time outside in society with what we have come to learn about what society still was or has become? To clarify whether it has become this way, or to clarify to me that it was that way, just not as the way it is now, with the idea that of what it is now. Do you think you could spend 5 years outside and experience, like, okay, experience large amounts of psychological trauma on top of being raped sometimes 7 times in one day while you're asleep, fucking maimed, avoid all the nasty things to do with third world civilizations inside of a first world country, functioning like a third world, having the third world invade your world with computers, technology, Instagram, phones, connections, internet, drones, television, religions, demonic delusion, the smell of strange meat and fucking backyard jerky fucking shacks, fucking large population of people that have not really progressed forward further than an educated opinion of what is still written in a book that hasn't really been proven yet. Do you think you could handle all of this on top of being followed around by your own government, maybe, or news reporters, and anybody else that wants to take a turn and having a bit of a look at and seeing if they can play around with their own personal idea that you might be somebody that they can just toy with, or something they can stick their finger in, or something they can stick their dick in, or a syringe, or how that make you feel? Like, to wind up becoming maybe a science experiment to try to avoid people that would like to run science experiments illegally with unsanctioned tests. Uh, do you personally feel that you could do this level of your life at this stage of your life without, like, at a later age in your life, uh, not being at a younger age where you can handle a lot more psychological trauma if you have that endeavored mindset to be able to handle, like, if you're a very extremely strong person that can reset your mind to handle any single situation that you possibly comes your way, get back up and then do it again, get back up and then do it again. Do you think that you could handle this at this stage in your life, let alone at a earlier stage in your life? Do you think you could handle all these things that go on in this part of society, and the way that it works, and with the uneducated opinions of people that have come through with multiple generations, not just one generation? I'm talking multiple generations, and we call a generation, what, 10 years? Like, do you think you could handle three generations of doing it, and then handle all the people that never handle that sort of stuff and still have the same opinion uh, that, as an example for you, they live in a part of the world that speaks a bit slower and they're offended by you living somewhere where you naturally speak quick. We all speak fast where I'm from, usually, but in like how long do you think it would take you to be forced psychologically to end up slowing down just to be able to fucking speak properly yourself, or the amount of trauma or that you would receive from continuous bombardment of like stuff that you wouldn't even put a fucking dog through. You know, but I just thought I'd ask your educated opinion, and I thought that I would ask whether you felt that large amounts of money and the uncaring idea of your opinion being valued to people at this level of society, to progress to a certain level of society, to have infliction of past events, history, culture, and all these things that people aspire to talk about, to feel a certain way in a social on setting and also in private and in their own house, to make himself feel a certain way or to be a certain way, to feel a certain way when you're walking around, to be a certain way and feel a certain way when you're looking at all the achievements that you've achieved in your life. And I just thought I'd ask whether you think you could handle all of this stuff, to have your your belief, your religion, your emotions, your aspirations, your inspirations, your strengths, your weaknesses, and have all of that taken off you. And then once you obtain something that is, you know, maybe just large amounts of trauma and suffering, to have that taken off you as well, to have a large, extremely large roller coaster of non-emotional fucking non 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 non-accessible emotions without the capability of being able to access it without other people being there, to then not want those people there because you don't want those emotions, or you get the point. All right, I was just thought I'd ask if you thought, with all of your money and all these big ideas that you have for which part of the world you're from, or the things that you want to do and how you want to do it, and all the fucking funny stuff that you fucking want to, you know, go on about or whatever. Do you think that you could handle all of that on top of your illnesses, your your the, the idea of having no absolution, the last and final moments of your life might mean nothing, or they might mean something, or having all of this stuff that these people have an opinion about, to have them have these opinions about all sorts of things that they want to always have an opinion about, to down to bothering an old woman while she's having a cup of tea because you know she's about to have a cup of tea, bothering an old man, or bothering that man, or that man that was fucking almost put into a wheelchair to then, or that man that's dying on a fucking table to have used, to have people sit around and to wonder whether the idea that that person sitting there wanting to squeeze the tubes on that dying man's fucking table, all of these things, take all that into consideration with your large education and all the things that I've said, and I just would like to know whether you think that you could handle doing all of that and then coming back in some way, shape, or form to be able to do that the right way, to feel a certain way, to coming back from all that. Do you think you could do all of that, even if it was for nothing, or if it really was for something, but you have no absolution as to whether whether you're going to succeed? I suppose it's kind of like a bottle of laughing gas. Everybody's just sitting around laughing and waiting for him to come across the line to tell him how he got across that line, and they were just sitting there laughing at him while he was going through it. It makes you think, doesn't it, as to all the reasoning for why they've said all these fucking things over a time period. And then I suppose you'll find out if your educated opinion means anything to anybody, or whether your opinion or your fucking your your word value, your life value in life in general means anything to anybody outside of a bottle of laughing gas. The feeling of other people's emotions, to have to hold your breath for people that are just going to sit there sucking on laughing gas. I don't know, I just thought I'd ask how you felt about it. Not that it means anything to me now, but you know, I suppose one day you'll find a beautiful woman and you might rock her world. You might shake it up and she might be none the wiser.